Donald Trump was found guilty of fraud, and now all the grimy capitalists are crawling out of the corners of their investment portfolios to complain about how they won't be able to do as much corruption. And this movement has been spearheaded by none other than Shark Tank's own Kevin O'Leary. And I love when Republicans point to people like O'Leary coming to Trump's defense as if he's speaking from some unbiased expert perspective and not just as a rich guy who's also made millions exploiting the system and just wants to be able to keep doing so. But anyways, let's watch his response to over a $300 million fraud ruling for Donald Trump.
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building, and he says it's worth $400 million, and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city.
Okay, it should go without saying that the fact that fraud and corruption has happened before, or even is currently happening now, isn't reason to excuse more fraud and corruption for happening. It's more reason to actually be happy that it's being called out. And not to mention that, but the way he's painting this is obviously a misrepresentation. Trump wasn't just inflating his values, he was flat out lying about details, claiming properties could fit more rental units on them than they could, and then leveraging these inflated values to get better loans and privileges he would have not else had access to. It's defrauding the system to your benefit. It's part of the corruption we regularly see from the rich, and that's why the only people coming out in Trump's defense are his brainwashed MAGA fans and other rich cronies. Right-wingers will be mad about DEI because they pretend that it means less qualified candidates are being selected and they care so much about qualifications, but they think that rich capitalists should be able to lie and receive loans and bank privileges that they aren't qualified for. Can anyone make that make sense? These are the sort of inconsistencies that need to be called out, and it comes back on taxpayers and on smaller investors, which these rich fucks avoid at all costs, so of course they couldn't care any less. But the fact of the matter is that the people who are saying, oh, this could come back down on other investors and other big boys in the market being hesitant to act, and anyways about it, there wasn't any real victim, they're being hesitant to fraudulently act is a good thing. And whether or not the super 1%, the super rich 1% are making these sorts of moves and investments, these moves and investments will still get made. And the fact it's not the top 1% making them only opens the door for smaller earners to get a piece of the pie, something everybody should be happy about. This reminds me a lot of the pushback that I hear and get about raising taxes and how, oh, top earners won't want to keep earning once they hit the threshold that raises their taxes. And it's like, okay, and this only stands to further spread the wealth. Let's say that they sell houses, for instance, right? Billy Joe sells his 10th house and then hits the threshold where his tax rate will double, so he decides not to sell his 11th house. Do you think that house just doesn't get sold? No, it's going to get sold by somebody who hasn't yet sold 10 other houses, which only stands to spread the wealth to people who need it more. And it's about removing these incentives to hoard wealth, making it easier or more incentivized to make investments and make this money get cycled back into the economy or more spread out to begin with. And if the ultra rich are going to invest less because they can't inflate their assets to get better deals, then so be it. Let those who need the wealth more, the smaller investors, the smaller fish in the pond, get a piece of the pie. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.